Since the founding of this country, small businesses have been heralded as the backbone of our economy. In early 2020, under an umbrella of powers granted to public health authorities, the old rule book and the old respect for small businesses was thrown away. Now, due to quasi-legal medical mandates and ever-changing rules which defy both common sense and essential individual rights, that backbone has been broken. Across Canada, there are a handful of entrepreneurs who have decided to defy these mandates and keep their businesses open and free from discrimination based on vaccine status. The stories printed in the press and on social media portray these men and women as dangerous troublemakers, claiming they're acting solely out of self-interest. But is that all there is to it? This is the story of one such entrepreneur. An ordinary man inspired to follow a higher calling, and in doing so transformed his business into a beacon for justice, truth, community, and freedom.
We all start on the outside. The outside of oh, I didn't do my hair. We were hungry.
Yeah, well, obviously, a big part of what I'm doing is to stand for our God-given rights and our freedoms. And we've all got relatives that have probably fought in more than one war. And this is for them too. From 11 to 3 on Remembrance Day, I'm giving any veteran that consumes a free meal from Jakks Tuesdays.
He said, come to the table. Come join the sinners who have been redeemed. Take your place beside.
Well, it wasn't even a decision. It was I think September 6th. I was sitting here with a couple of my buddies, and we were talking about the whole pandemic and what's been going on and how it's affected business and me personally and my business and what it's done. And I don't know, God compelled me to put that sign up. So I said, I've had enough. I said, I'm going to put a sign up saying no, because I'm not going to accept these vax passports. I said, it's illegal. I'm not going to do it. It's wrong. And my one buddy says, you can't do that. You're crazy. 15 minutes later, that sign was up. It hasn't come down. And I can't explain it any other way. And it's been a whirlwind since that day. That sign went up on the 6th, I believe, like I said, and then September 10th, the AGCO came and had a discussion with me to educate me, so to speak, on what I'm supposed to do and asked me if I would be complying. And I said, no, you saw the sign. I know that's why you're here. So, no, I'm not going to comply and break the law. Then September 24th, they came and laid fines for not following the Reopening Act, which was fine. There was AGCO was here, city bylaw, and the police came. And then the 29th is when they came and revoked my liquor license. So the 22nd was when the passports came into effect. I said no to that. And that week was chaos. We couldn't keep up to the demands. We were running out of food by the end of that first week. It was crazy. The support was huge even from the get-go. Then the Wednesday, the 29th, the week after the passports were supposed to be implemented, they came Wednesday night at 7 o'clock, suspended my liquor license. But even the last 4 days of that week, we were still very busy. It tailed off, obviously, once they took the liquor license, because it was a big part. It used to be a big part of my revenue. The irony is, all they've done with coming at me is create more public support and knowledge. It's like there's no such thing as bad press, right? The funny thing is my revenues right now are higher than they were with alcohol and food before I put the sign up. So people are coming. There's people driving as much as 4 or 5 hours away to come and eat here and show their support. So it's been pretty overwhelming. I'm pretty humbled by this whole process. It is pretty cool. Obviously very fresh and new for me. I guess to start, my mom passed away from lung cancer. This Saturday will be her 18th anniversary of her death, so always chokes me up. But It was good. She was the most faithful person I knew. So when she passed away, I got angry at God. And I was always a believer. I was a faithful person. I was a sinner. I did my things, but I still believed in God. And when that took place, it took me for a spin, and the devil got a hold of me. Uh, I got in a car accident in 2008, and I couldn't take time off work. I had to operate my business, so of course, the doctor prescribed me Percocet for the pain, and it helped the pain. And 6 months after taking the Percocets, I decided I didn't want them anymore, and my body told me otherwise. So I was going through some pretty serious withdrawal. So I know what withdrawal from addiction is all about, and it took about 3 months for the doctor to wean me off the Percocets to get me back to normal. Well, the devil infiltrated some more, and I battled those addictions 2 more times in my life. The second time I battled those with the alcohol I was drinking, led to adultery and a divorce, and lost my family over that, which was very difficult to deal with. Uh, and then fast forward with the devil being a part of my life all those years and gripping me and me running away from God the way I was. This whole pandemic hit, and me being closed for 18 months up until the point, this past summer. Uh, I was always a truth seeker like you, and I always questioned a lot of things. Uh, so I had more time than I've ever had to dig deeper down the rabbit hole, so to speak. To make a long story short, as far as that goes, going down that rabbit hole and having the time to research I did led me to some horrific truths. And it was really hard to deal with those truths of the evil of this world. So I think more than anything, I turned to the drugs to numb the pain of what I was trying to deal with and how sick everything was. So it gripped me hard. Uh, and through that time, uh, I was getting low. I mean, I was killing myself slowly. I didn't realize it, with the drugs I was consuming, the drinking, and I was a mess. And I was losing hope for a lot of things. And uh, my uncle, my mother's brother, had prayed for me for 15 plus years to find my way back to Jesus, because he knew I was lost. And every time we had the God talk, I just shunned him. I didn't want to hear it. March 29th, 2021, I texted him and said, "Thank you for your prayers. God found me." And he was pretty amazed and happy. He came over. He filled me with the Holy Ghost. I was reborn. We went to a prayer revival on Fred Brown Road, July 31st. There was a pastor speaking at that event. His name is Paul Kovac. And his testimony was just remarkable. And I said to my uncle, I need that man to lay hands on me and pray for me. I just felt something about him. And he did pray for me that day. A week later, I went to bed August 7th, and I prayed for God to take alcohol away from me. Within a 2-week period, he cleaned me of every addiction. There was no withdrawal, no side effects, nothing. It was quite remarkable what he did. And I see now that he did that cleaning in me to prepare me for what I'm doing today. The clarity that I need to make this stand couldn't happen if I was, full of drugs and alcohol. I just wouldn't be able to handle what I'm going through right now. So
Somebody says, I think Jakks Tuesdays is closed. No, he's been on the news again. It's great.
There was definitely a purpose, and he had a plan. It's pretty amazing. But like I said, I couldn't be doing what I'm doing today if he wasn't walking this walk with me.
Well, I took my granddaughter out to have a celebration. She just passed her driver's exam. So, but she's had an interesting history because she had an allergy to Wi-Fi. You know how you have an allergy to peanut? But she had to stay at home for 3.5 years. She couldn't even come to her house. She couldn't even go to the restaurant. God showed her a technical plan where if you worked hard on it, you could heal yourself. So they did a 6-month course in 10 days, got totally well. And this is one of her first times we've ever eaten out. Okay, so she's eating out, and the nurse that used to be in the hospital someplace had treated her, the waitress, who was a nurse, the one that gave them the support, is right here serving them food today. So we just know we are going through divine appointments every day.
Yes, we are. Oh, amen.
So excited about this restaurant.
On November 11th, as promised, Kelly provided free meals to any veteran who came into Jack Tuesdays. The restaurant was packed full of people who had a chance to pay their respects to those who had fought and sacrificed in defense of rights and freedoms around the world. It was a fitting and poetic moment. Soldiers from the old battlefields honored by everyday heroes on the new domestic front. All in that room shared a singular experience, courageously holding their ground against an attacking force that meant to rob them of their liberty, if not their very lives. By way of contrast, I'd like to show you what was happening to veterans in uniform at another restaurant, one which chose to adhere to the public health guidelines and enforce all of the mandates.
Let's talk about rules. Let's look at this restaurant for a fucking minute. A two-time war vet can't come into this restaurant and have a meal. Sorry, I'm unvaccinated. I'm a two-time war vet. Can't sit down in this restaurant and eat a meal with these people that are basically sitting on top of each other and having a great meal. Enjoy yourself, sir. What a nice Remembrance Day is. This really represents a really great thing. A two-time war vet can't sit down in the Irving and have a meal. I would refuse service in your restaurant for not giving my private medical information.
We don't need your medical. You just need a piece of government ID and a proof of your vaccination.
That would be my medical information. I would be providing you with my medical. I can provide you with my war medals where I fought to watch my friends get ripped into shreds so that you guys can refuse me a meal on Remembrance Day.
We're not refusing a meal. We just have rules that we have to follow.
Really? And you choose, but you choose following rules over doing what you know is right in your heart.
I'm not saying any of that, but
You don't have to. I can feel it. There you have it.
In the theater of war, soldiers have commanding generals. In the so-called war against COVID, the government has enlisted hostesses, clerks, cashiers, and other civilian laborers as their frontline enforcers. Often working for minimum wage, they ask no questions, follow all directives, and think nothing of dehumanizing their fellow citizens. They all have the same excuse. I'm just following orders. But there are other leaders in this new fourth generation warfare, and people like Kelly Hale. His troops volunteered to serve.
Thank you, everybody. I'm so humbled and so blessed beyond words. And first of all the glory to God in this ride.
Called by their allegiance to a higher law and drawn together by one little candle that grew into a brilliant beacon of defiance to tyranny.
The stand that I'm taking through Jesus. With less than 2 hours notice today, they took me back to court and tried to railroad me. So what is the immediate and imminent danger here? Your manager will. So what is the immediate risk? I also asked the judge, you are the one who made this order. You must have some justification and know what the immediate risk is to close me down. They couldn't tell me. So now the police have a big decision to make. They're assessing the risk here. What are they going to do? There's people coming with their sleeping bags, Polly. They're not leaving.
We hear reports that Global News is here doing a bit. No interview. I thought there was an interview or something going on. Just B-roll?
No interview.
Are you waiting for the cops? Do you know something?
Don't know anything.
It's just odd that you're here, I guess. But it does make me wonder if they know something's about to happen.
They definitely do because they're coinciding with the police.
Wow.
They're here before the police get here every time.
Are they?
Absolutely.
Wow.
It's either them or the Week Standard or the Kingston.
How do you know it's global? Because I couldn't see.
Because they're
Well, I love coming to a place like this. Not much option for people that just want to go out and be free and unvaccinated to go places. So I love the spirit around here. Everyone is nice and it's good service. And yeah, I don't agree with all these mandates and stuff. So I guess there's a lot of supporters here. I was surprised how busy this place was.
Coming to Jakks has been a lot of fun. The last couple of times I've been here, really enjoyed it, and I definitely will want to come back more often and wish him all the best, and I will be there to fight for him. Thank you.
Yeah, so Jakks Tuesdays is a West End restaurant. It used to be a pub where we got beers, and it was always blue collar, real people. And I remember talking to Jack or Kelly about 4 months ago, and I was like, man, we got to do something. And he was like, I don't get involved in politics. So apparently he's had a real wake-up call with the Lord, and he's walking with the Lord, and he wants to do something for this country. We know how screwed up it is now and how quickly they're escalating it. So, I mean, this is the nucleus and the core. If something goes down in Kingston at Jakks Tuesdays, we're all coming out to support him.
So I've been coming here for the last 2 months to Jakks with my family, and it's great. There's no masking, it's freedom. Everyone feels the same way, and it's just you can let your guard down when you're here. You don't have to worry about being screamed at for not doing the wrong thing. But yeah, it's been really awesome here, and I'm here to support Kelly any way I can.
Yeah, we love coming to Jakks. It's great that they're not doing the mandate and the vaccine and the passport. It kind of gives everyone back their rights and their freedom that have been taken away from us. And we're told to do something that we don't want to do. It's great to come here and be out here and see all the support.
All right, well, I'm basically a young guy from in town. I heard about this place. It's one of the last places in Canada or Ontario, especially in this town, Kingston, that is fighting for freedom. And it's a perfect opportunity to it feels home here where you have other like minds. You have people who you can see their faces, they're not scared. And fighting this system is really messed up right now, and we're here to create a better world. We have nurses, we have intelligent doctors, we have farmers, and we're creating something good here, no matter what these health mandate Nazis are doing, right? So, yeah, that's my info bit.
Well, I think, Annie, what's going on now is disgusting. We're fighting for our freedom here. I had grandparents fought in the war and built this country, and we can't even get into a restaurant because we've chosen not to take this jab, and we're here fighting for freedom. Kelly is probably one of the few major freedom fighters when it comes to keeping the restaurant open, and it means a lot. And we're on the we're here supporting him. We respect what he's trying to do, and what is happening to him and happening to our country is totally disgusting. And most people are asleep at the switch here, and this is a slippery slide. Most of the people here are probably unvaccinated, but that's not the issue. The issue has got nothing to do with vaccination. If people want to get a vaccine, they're free to get a vaccine. It's called freedom of choice, freedom of what goes into our bodies. And right now, none of us here are against vaccines as much as we are against losing our freedoms. And Kelly is an amazing example. He's a hero, he's courageous, and we want to thank Kelly for standing up. And we want to ask the police officers and the government people here to think about what you're really doing. Think about what you're doing. It's evil, pure evil. Thank you, and God bless.
Jakks Tuesdays Sports Bar, Kingston, Ontario. Time is 5:30 in the morning.
Hi, Kelly. Can you hear me? Okay. Are you able to open the door? Okay. So you don't understand that means there will be a potential for forced entry? Okay. No problem. How many people did you say on the side?
I'm not sure right now.
Sorry?
I'm not sure right now.
Any women or children?
Yes.
How old are the children and how many?
I'm not sure. There's women in here for sure. I don't know.
They're here then.
There's women in here, yes. There's women in here.
And children. And how old are the kids?
I'm not sure. I don't know.
15?
15, I think. 15 years old. So I just open the basement and come anyway. But well, they're coming anyway. They're gonna bring them in.
Yeah.
So I just open it. Or just open it. They're fucking coming. I'll open it. How many people do we have inside? I just want to make sure that if there's any code in there.
Yes.
Okay, so between Dr. Peter Whatever you want to do. You do whatever you want to do, all right? You do what you got to do. I don't know if you're here. Are you going to engage with me?
You're not doing anything wrong, sir. You're standing there.
He's standing there. He's not doing anything wrong. You're talking to me. Just talk. He's not.
We're not. No one's being violent.
We're not trying to do anything obstructive.
No one's being violent.
I'm not an asshole. I'm just fighting for my rights.
Last thing we want to do, guys, is have anyone arrested today, so just long as you allow him to speak.
That's not what I'm here for either.
Any further questions that you have from outside of what the sheriff has read to you?
Half of something that's bigger than themselves. People that are willing to go to jail. People that right now could go to jail for being here. People that were in his shop when they came at 5:30 in the morning, who put their own life and liberty on the line. Why? Because one guy wanted to make a living for his family. Without infringing on others. And allowing anybody, regardless of their disposition, belief system, or whatever, to come and get a bite to eat. And when they shut down his alcohol license, he went, oh, okay, we'll sell food. And then he sold double the food. I don't use the word hero lightly, and I would never pin it on an individual. But the acts that I see amongst this crowd, amongst the half a dozen people within my arm shot right now, sure as hell show as heroic behavior.
You go home. Is that where you're going?
We got this. We really got this. We've had a close look at all the documents, 300-page documents that they gave to Kelly to supposedly justify what they're doing. And guess what? It's a big, fat, nothing burger.
Wow.
Wow, I don't know what else to say other than wow to everyone here. To start, I want everyone to turn around and look at that sign on our city hall here in Kingstown, the original capital of Canada. And it says, lest we forget. Well, folks, I'm pretty sure our government has forgotten. They forgot what my grandfathers and my great uncles and all of our grandfathers and people who fought in our wars, like our great man Ken right here, what they did for our rights and freedoms. They have forgotten. This man and many other veterans who fought for our rights and freedoms, just because they didn't get this experimental jab, aren't even allowed to walk into a legion in our country anymore. That disgusts me beyond means. And it is so wrong. Betrayal. It is betrayal. I started this and didn't consent to any of these mandates from day one. And I'm willing to die on the hill I'm standing on right now. And I will not consent. And I will not break the law and ask people for private, personal, medical information. Think of it this way. If a husband and wife share the same doctor, and the husband goes to that said doctor and asks for his wife's personal medical information, what do you think that doctor's going to tell him? No! Exactly. But yet I'm supposed to ask that information for people to come into my restaurant to have a bite to eat in freedom. Yeah, bullcrap. Not on my watch, people. Not on my watch. Like this sign says here, it's no longer our job to wake up the sheep. It's our time to wake up the other lions. The lions are awake, folks. One at a time. This gathers strength and momentum, and it's getting bigger by the day. And we're not going to stop till we win. And every one of you here today is a hero too for standing up and being here for our rights and our freedoms. And you understand what it's all about and what's at stake here. They are trying to take everything sacred away from us. Everything. Everything. They're trying and they will not succeed. Like I said, I'm willing to die on this hill I'm standing on. And that's just the way it is, folks. I'm not going to stop. We're going to keep this fight going. We have to. It's all we have right now. Yes. Yes, it is. How can we help you? How can you help me? Look around. You're helping me right now. Roy and Nicole from Peter Burgers in Peterborough are instrumental in this rally today. They reached out to me and we got this thing going, and it won't happen without them. So thank you guys. It's incredible. They in Peterborough are taking the same stand I am here in Kingston. They are suffering the same consequences I've had to deal with. Jackie in Belleville, Wild Wings, she has taken the same stand. God bless her too. We need more businesses to stand up to this tyranny. Stand up for what is right. Just say no. Take off your mask. Say no to the vax passports. It's all illegal. And they know it's illegal, folks. They're playing us. We need to stand. If 100 of us take our masks off and walk into our local mall and sit in the food court to have a bite to eat, what are they going to do? Nothing. There's several businesses that I'm hearing from that aren't even asking for these passports. They're just letting people go in and eat. But yet I am being persecuted and being made an example of because I'm standing for truth and justice and for what's right. It has to stop, folks. And it starts with us right here today. And ongoing. And the others before me that have started this fight and kept it going. We're all warriors, folks. Every one of us here is a warrior. And we got to keep this battle going for truth and justice. Just say no.
Just say no, says Kelly. Just say no, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be started here in 10 minutes. Thank you so much for joining us here tonight. You're a little bit early. We're glad that you're here. What we're going to do right now, we're going to slip you into the mode of the Freedom Convoy, buddy, because that's what we're here for. We are here for the Freedom Convoy. And as you might have guessed, Kelly Hale, who hails from the Kingston area, will be our guest here this evening. Kelly Hale, and that'll commence in about 12 minutes. Thank you for joining us. I really appreciate it. If you enjoy these segments, please share it out with people. If you don't enjoy it, please go away. But don't go away mad. Just go away. But or stay. You never know. It might be a thing that's like better than what you thought. All right, ladies and gentlemen, instead of looking at my screen, let me do a thing. Anybody know how this thing works?
And now for another story we're across today. In Canada, police in riot gear have swept through the capital, arresting 170 demonstrators in 2 days and towing away trucks taking part in the Freedom Convoy. That's as the government tries to finally stamp out protests that have gone on now for almost a month. Those are the protests against the no jab, no job COVID mandates. Well, to talk about this latest development, we're joined live now by Freedom Convoy protester Jim Kerr, who's in Ottawa. Jim, welcome to RT International.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Now, Jim, is there shock at the extent of this crackdown, including police holding basically peaceful protesters?
No, I wouldn't say there's shock. I mean, we knew that the government didn't, aspects of the government didn't want us there. And we knew that they used everything at their disposal to make sure that we weren't there. So no, it wasn't shocking at all. I mean, it was disturbing, but not shocking.
Mm-hmm. Have you got any personal experience of this latest crackdown by the Canadian police that you can share with us?
Well, yeah. I mean, a year and a month ago, I was at a protest out in Toronto on Yonge Dundas Square on the sidewalk. And we have 3 different camera angles of the police arresting me for supposedly obstructing police and breaking my thumb, putting me in jail, and then putting conditions on me. That was a year ago, first time I'd ever been arrested. And but we've been pretty hard at it since then. So we've seen a lot of these kind of conflicts, never to this degree, and never with the show of force, and in some cases reckless shows of force.
Mm-hmm. So what's been the reaction to the first ever use of the Emergencies Act that's blocked travel to the rallies and even the bank accounts of some non-violent demonstrators?
The reaction, well, we knew we'd be assailed. I mean, we knew that we were going to be attacked. We knew that they'd take any chance that they could to weaken us either financially, morally, or otherwise. So it's really not surprising. There's some things that have happened that are just really offside, though. They talk about all these people being arrested. It didn't mean that they were charged. I talked to 3 people yesterday who were arrested, i.e. put in handcuffs, put in the back of a police cruiser, and then they were driven 20 to 30 kilometers out of the town and dropped on a road, expected to find their own way back with no paperwork, no warrant, no charges at the end of it. It's just catch and release program. So I wonder how many of those numbers you say are actually that instead.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And given this crackdown by the police, how long do you think your movement can survive given this coordinated offensive by the establishment?
Survive, dude. Yeah. This is gonna make us thrive. People are as excited as anything. This hasn't dampened their spirits whatsoever. We as a protesting group. Now, I don't know a lot of these protests. These people came in from all over the place, and they've been in the freedom fight for a lot of different reasons. Now, these truckers they came out of left field. And when they came down, all of a sudden, all of the freedom fighters who had been doing something somewhere else went, this is it. And they coordinated their efforts. They came together, and it was 3 weeks of bliss. I mean, the kindness, the random acts of kindness, the generosity shown, the help that was given by protesters to protest. It was just incredible. Mm-hmm. People were showing up with envelopes of money and giving them away to people. I'd never seen anything like it. Mm-hmm. So this crackdown was just a way to polarize us together.
Mm-hmm. Well, I guess given your response to my last question, that moves me on nicely to the next one. How long do you plan, or how long do you think these rallies will continue?
Till the end. They're never going to stop. They're never going to stop. These people, see, there's a saying that says that there's got to be a hill that you're willing to die on. Well, guess what? The majority of the people I don't know about majority. The majority of people I spoke to believe that this is the hill to die on, because if we don't do it, not only do we lose our own country, but the world loses their way of life. And that's just, it was so unexpected to see the international response to this, and so damn encouraging. So we can't stop now.
Mm-hmm. So does this whole crackdown by the government raise serious questions about Canadian democracy itself?
My God, yes, brother. That is not maple syrup and hockey sticks, man. They got rubber bullets, they got tear gas, they got batons, and they a lot of these people, the police, if you'll notice, a lot of them didn't have names on their things. A lot of them, there's private contractors coming in. There are corrections officers that are given temporary arresting powers. There's all levels of army. There's people coming in from out of the country. So basically, our leader, the prime minister, has decided not to talk with the convoy people, instead employ all of his financial resources to bring in the force to just make them do his will, and it ain't gonna work.
Mm-hmm. And given how PM Trudeau has handled this situation, are public attitudes towards him changing, and if so, how?
In a big way. What's happening is we were the fringe minority with unacceptable views, if you'll remember what the PM said about us. Misogynist, racist, fringe minority with unacceptable views. Well, now what's happened is the middle market, all of the people that were just kind of sitting on the fence, maybe had a couple of vaccines, maybe had a booster, they're starting to clue into the fact that unless they are on this regimen on an ongoing basis, their vaccine passport, or whatever your country's equivalent is no longer going to be valid, which that means you are on a needle program forever if you want to continue to work or do anything else productive. And that's just something that middle market is starting to tune into. And now you're seeing, it used to be people were anti-maskers, anti-vaxxers, not anymore. This is engineers, doctors from every single walk of life who see that this is a real threat.
Mm-hmm. Well, Jim, I'm afraid that's all we have time for. Thank you very much for your insight into those developments in the Freedom Convoy protest. That's Freedom Convoy protester Jim Kerr. Thank you.
Excellent, brother. And if you want to find us, Church of Bubbles on YouTube and all the other platforms, Church of Bubbles.
Thank you very much, Jim. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well,
For your safety, they say, for your safety. you ever seen so much safety for a truck backing up? We're safe, folks. We're safe. I can guarantee you we're safe. Immovable object. What happens when an immovable object meets an immeasurable force? I think I'd like to hear your answer. Doing your job, right? Keep people safe, right? Yeah, yeah. It's so predictable.
Came here. 8 years later, here I am.
Hey, what are you doing, dude?
Checking out the scenery.
What's that?
I'm just checking out the scenery.
Oh, you are? Okay, cool.
Yeah. What are you doing?
Good. Yeah, I'm
How
just
you doing?
making sure that we got some.
You know what? You know what sucks? Is that this could have been a really decent protest. And then, do you know, everyone's aware.
Does this guy look guilty as hell or what? Kelly, how are you, brother?
I'm good, brother. That's a pretty guilty looking face. I wonder if the mask had anything to do with it.
Oh, you know, I often wondered if it increased criminal behavior because people felt that now they could go around without necessarily being recognized, you know.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing with the guys like that make me laugh because it was pretty sure it was the first weekend. And you know how many people were there, my friend. It was incredible. And I was literally 5 feet from this guy. It was the most classic Canadian response ever. This guy goes by with a Nazi flag and a great big covering on his face, just trying to incite something out of the crowd, right?
So you were there to
crowd, remember? And you might even been near me then. The whole crowd's like, nice try, buddy. Have a good day. We know what you're trying to do. Get out of here. Nobody even got mad at the guy. And he just kind of put his tail between his legs and scurried away. It was awesome.
It's very difficult. I mean, I've got some footage there of the odd anti-protester who would come up on their own and just stand on the corner. And it was amazing to me how few people interacted at a time. Like they never did gang up on the anti-protester, but rather allowed them the space. And then one or two would go up and speak, and then maybe they'd come back, and another one. I mean, you know, watching the behaviors was fascinating as anything, you know.
Well, that was the whole thing. I mean, we know how scripted the whole convoy was, and we know the whole purpose and intent was to lead us into the Emergencies Act, which they had to bring the goons in after 2 weeks.
Hold on. What you just said there might be a little controversial. I'd like to stop you just on that. First of all, thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it. I appreciate you coming on tonight. And I don't know if you came on early, but sometimes I just run some clips before we started. Tonight, I think I started more than a half an hour early, and we were watching the entire documentary thing that was done on you. And so anybody who tuned in early got a really good feel of who they were about to meet here tonight. But for those who don't know you, can you share a little bit of who you are and kind of what got you into all this freedom thing?
Well, I was just a little sports bar owner from Kingston, Ontario, who was affected in a negative way, like a lot of Canadians and businesses and people that are employed in Canada were affected by this, as we've called it, the plandemic. And being closed 8 out of 18 months leading up till the summer before, you know, into September when they were bringing in the vax passports, I'd been closed. So I had nothing but time on my hands. And like any small business, I was sinking because there's only so much you can do when you're not even able to operate. And my business was such a business that it was more of people coming in to have beer and wings and drink. So the takeout thing really wasn't a viable option for me. I tried it a little bit, but it wasn't a lot of takeout for me. So I just got to that point And I didn't stand. I stood up to all the mandates even before the vax passports. I didn't make any of my customers wear masks. I didn't wear masks. If my staff wanted to, it was always up to them. I never enforced any of these mandates on anybody, and I never accepted them either. And I got the odd visit from people saying you should do this and that, and I'm like, whatever, I'm not doing it. But when they were coming out with the vax passports, that crossed the line for me, because that's when I knew. But I mean, I knew way before that what this was coming to, which we can see now, the bigger picture. But I knew this was about our freedoms and our rights and what they were trying to take away from us. So I just knew that I had to take a stand. It was the only thing right to do. And I wasn't going to discriminate, because I never, ever did. And me asking people for medical information, or whether they're vaxxed or not, that's discrimination. And I wasn't about to do it and break the law. So I stood firm, and I just never caved along the way at all.
Wow, brother. So I want to talk a little bit about your foray into the Freedom Convoy here. Like, I mean, did you see this coming? Did you know something like this would happen? What was your reaction? When did you find out about it? And, when did you get there?
Well, I was there for the first day. I was part of the convoy that came up from Kingston, that joined in Kingston and came up for the first weekend. That Friday, I was all part of that. It was amazing. At that point, I'd been shut down since November of 2021, so it'd been, 3 or 4 months. So I knew something was big as far as the convoy was concerned. I do think it was a deeper plan. Everything's so socially engineered, and I do think the whole convoy was meant to lead us to the Emergencies Act. But I think there was so much peace and love those first couple of weeks. That's why they brought the goon cops in, because they had to incite some violence somehow to justify what they were trying to do. The first weekend there, Joe, I'm telling you, I must have hugged and high-fived over 1,000 people I didn't even know. I just, like you were saying before, I mean, how many times did I walk around with you during that convoy? The love and the peace and the unity. Like, I've never experienced anything so beautiful in my whole life, my friend.
Absolutely. I it's something that's very, very difficult to explain to people. The camaraderie. I think there's a lot of different, ideas of why that happened, but I would suggest a lot of it had to do with the fact we only knew each other in very small groups up until this point. You had more people at your restaurant than most people saw the entirety of the time. On any given night, brother. I mean, like you held it down for those who just wanted to go out.
Yeah, we had the last month or so, it was pretty special. Like, after when they came and took, basically gave me the tickets for not, giving the vax pass out. That was September 24th. And then a week later, they came and took my liquor license. So from that time in late September till November, when they came at 5:30 in the morning to lock me in my restaurant on November 13th, that 5 or 6 week period was literally magical in my restaurant. I'm not going to lie. There was so many people coming to support. There was people driving from 4 and 5 hours away just to come and eat, for no other reason than to say thank you for standing up. And it was pretty humbling. I wasn't doing any of this to be noticed or gain any notoriety. That was never my intent. It was just for standing on principle for what was right. And that's essentially why I did it.
Now, as I was watching the documentary, you have a very strong spiritual bent towards you. I mean, this is not just something that you're doing because you think might be a good idea. It sounds to me like it's a bit of a higher calling, as it were, for you. Can you kind of, without getting maybe too preachy, because we don't know who's listening, but at the same token, I think everybody can identify with the fact that this is way more than just a thing for you. This is big.
Yeah, well, for me, drugs and alcohol were always a part of my life. I mean, I grew up in the restaurant and bar business, but it was never something I really abused. It was more of a recreational fun thing. The couple of years, leading up to the pandemic, there was obviously lots going on with my business, lots going on with things in my personal life. And then when the lockdowns happened, it took me for a spin. I got, just had nothing but time, right? So I was going down holes and really digging. I've always been a conspiracy theorist, so to speak. I've always questioned things and knew something wasn't right. And I'd ran from God for a long time. I was always a believer, but I had some things happen in my life that kind of changed my direction, and I was running the wrong way. And I just got to a point with all my research, and I realized the evil in this world, what was really happening. And it was a lot to take in. And I got even deeper in addiction. And I was killing myself slowly, Jim. I'm not going to lie. I didn't even realize it with the drugs and the drinking. And I was losing hope for a lot of things, buddy. And I don't know why or how, but God found me again. And it changed my life. I literally prayed for alcohol to be taken from me one night, and the next day I got up and I couldn't even drink a beer because it tasted like crap. And within a 2-week period, he cleaned me of all my addictions. We're talking about Percocets, cocaine, weed, depression, anxiety medication that I was on for many, many years, and with no side effects or withdrawal or anything. And I've battled Percocet addiction specifically a few times in my life, and I know what withdrawal is about, and I know what it's like being curled up in your bed, not being able to move, and you have the shakes in your body's telling you it needs something and you don't have it. So I know what that's all about. And when I just realized how spiritual this whole thing was, and it was bigger than us, like you said, I think that was my calling. And I really believe that God compelled me to put that sign up on my business that said, "Stay no Vax, passports all welcome at Jakks." And I think the way he cleaned me of my addictions and how I got cleaned up was so I could take the stand that I took against this injustice and the governmental tyranny. If I was full of drugs and alcohol, I wouldn't have been able to do the things I did standing up to it, make court appearances, represent myself in court, all the things I wasn't put in a position to do. I wouldn't have been able to do if I was the old Kelly, so to speak. So yeah, on the spiritual side, it changed a lot for me. And I still believe it. This is bigger than all of us. This is a spiritual battle that we're all in. And we need more people like you and me to stand up and just let people know that something's not right. Because the scary thing is, Jim, there's people 4 years into this that don't even think anything was abnormal or wrong at their country. So it's how can you not at least question something and say, maybe this wasn't right, or maybe this is what it really was. But so many people are just still in the fog.
Brother, I honestly believe that's just a matter of individuals. It hasn't come close enough to their pain points yet. Whatever their pain points are, the fire isn't right underneath their backside yet. But when it comes, let's just hope it doesn't come in the form of a forest fire that overwhelms people. Let's hope it tickles them in the butt a little bit. That's what I see the last 4 years as being the flame tickling at your butt. You better freaking move.
Yeah, but the amazing thing is, people like you and I and others that stood up to all this, the fact that we didn't relent in keeping our voices going has made such a difference. Because I have lots of people in my life that were telling me when the vax first came out, they're like, "We don't want to hear about your crap. We know everything's safe. We know about these things." And I just didn't stop talking. And a lot of those people they've woken up to what's really going on. And if we just all kept silent, how much worse would this have been at this point,
Oh, dude, I don't even know. Like I think that dialogue is how we grow as a species, and open dialogue without censorship is how we're going to get the most benefit. And throughout this, it's quite clear that they do want to shut certain people down, specifically those who exhibit courage in an area which they'd rather people just be docile about.
Exactly. Yeah, because I knew from the get-go when this whole thing started in March of 2020, I'd done enough research, and I knew the bigger plan. I knew what the World Economic Forum and the United Nations, I knew what all these think tanks were up to and what they were trying to do. So I always knew it was bigger than my little business. So that's why I felt it was really important to make a stand. And I don't know any other way how to explain it, but I felt compelled to stand up to it, because it was all wrong. It's illegal, everything they did. And look at how much proof's coming out with not just the damage that's been done by all this, but what's going on in the courts and things getting dropped and the victories we're having. And I'm really honored and blessed that I was a part of all this. And I got to stand up with so many people like you who stood for freedom and stood for courage and stood for what's right in this country, so we could keep things as they are. And that's our goal, right? I love this country. I'm proud to be Canadian. I'm just not proud of our government and what they've done, but I still love my country, Jim.
Oh, brother, I mean, I can't say I ever did the way I did after the Freedom Convoy. At the Freedom Convoy, during the Freedom, it was a whole renewing of spirits. I mean, just to see all the different people from all the different places. Now, tell me, what was your sleeping situation like? Where did you sleep when you were there?
I went to hotel on the convoy, you mean?
Yeah, at the convoy. Were you able to get a hotel? Were you able to keep a hotel?
Hotel, but and then being only an hour and a half or so, there was quite a few days I just drove up and came back late at night. For a few days, I stayed up at hotels. But being close enough to Ottawa from Kingston, it was nice to be able to even do the day trips and get up there quite a few times. I mean, there wasn't a lot of days I missed the first couple of weeks, and I'm pretty sure the day before all the big nonsense happened, I was there and I was going to go up the next day, and I didn't. I forget why I didn't go up, but even the day before, I remembered how aggressive and how for really starting to push their agenda. It was, you knew something big was going to break. It was just too obvious how they were doing it, right?
Well, the thing was, I just didn't know. Like every day there was rumors of something new, and you couldn't be everywhere all at the same time. And the only way you could really get some kind of idea of what was going on is check out somebody like VidStorm. I don't know if you guys remember that guy, but VidStorm was amazing. I mean, he would get everybody's streams, put them together, and show you kind of, you know, where everybody was at any given time. And I know I promoted this previously on this episode. I'm going to do it again because I think it's great. Convoylive.ca, which overlays everything that happened in Ottawa on a map of Ottawa when it happened, according to many of the live streamers that have allowed them to use their footage. So yeah, check that out. Convoylive.ca, which is showing you what's going on, you know, at the time. Sure.
Yeah, it was quite an experience, that's for sure.
So now tell me, when, like, after the convoy happened, now I want to understand, what kind of toll has this taken on you? How has it changed the course of your life? How do you now, how are you different as a result of what's happened here at the convoy?
Well, I'm different. For me, it's I think I'm different just because I've accepted God in my life, where I was running from him before, and where I used to be afraid and fearful of death and all those things. Those things don't bother me anymore. I'm calm, and things are just different, and that's kind of, I just let God lead me each day now, and that's where I'm at, and it's changed my life immensely. Just to be able to, you know, I used to be full of rage and anger and had a temper, and I haven't been angry in over 3 years, Jim, and I'm going to tell you, the old me was just different, and I know obviously drinking and the drugs obviously at times fueled all that, but my whole mindset's just different now, and I don't know how to explain it, buddy. I just don't know how. It's just different.
Well, my gosh, I mean, it clearly works for you. Now, I mean, what didn't work was the business. It didn't. Well, it's kind of tough to operate your business when they don't let you open the doors.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, what did you do after that? That was your livelihood, right? Like that was how you were living. Yeah.
Yeah, and see, a lot of people, Jim, say, "Oh, you know, you sacrificed so much, you lost so much." But everything I lost was material possessions. I gained so much more spiritually and otherwise. I mean, the people that I met when I took that stand, people like you and other people that are like-minded thinkers that understand what's going on in the world. So I've gained a lot more than I've lost. Just the group of people, the friends I have, like-minded people. And the neat thing about, like I said, when I took the stand and they took the liquor license away and then took my business license, I mean, I had some of the coolest people that I met come in there that were like-minded. I was able, like I said, to hire 7 or 8 people from healthcare that lost their jobs because they said no to the mandates. It put me in a really cool position, and it really impacted me in a big way. Just the new group of people that were surrounding me now was pretty cool.
So there's something to be said about that. I wanted to kind of just touch on that a little bit. I have never had the occasion to mingle with so many smart, educated, and talented, good people. Like, I mean, we're talking nurses and doctors and firefighters and police at times. You know, there's something to be said about those who are entrepreneurs who want to get together in like mind, because I think that the pool of people that have now become available because of the nonsense that was pushed upon them is larger.
Mhm. Well, that's it. When the only way that these elites and this 1%, so to speak, rule us is through division and fear. And when you're not afraid anymore, it changes everything, Jim. And clearly you're not afraid. I'm not afraid. We've done what we've done because we aren't afraid, you know, and they need us to be in fear, and they need us to be divided, because when you're fearful and you're divided, you're not thinking cognitively, you're not using your critical thinking skills. When you're living in fear, it's always fight or flight. And that's exactly where they've gotten us for a very long time. And this is the cycle that we need to break. And this is why they didn't want us gathering, because when you get like-minded people together and you realize how good it really is, and when there is no fear, it changes everything.
Yeah, it's amazing. Even on those last days, when there might have been cause for fear, in that the violence was obviously amping up, and as were the armaments and the movements of the authorities and such. Even though there might have been cause for it, you didn't feel it amongst each other. I mean,
no.
It was, and I personally, I didn't even really feel it when I was on the front line. And it's not that there wasn't any imminent danger. It was just that I felt like we were doing the right thing, and when you're doing the right thing, not too many bad things can happen. You know what I mean?
No, you're exactly 100% right. Even like that one day when the parking lot a few blocks away, when the cops were going to tow all our vehicles, and we all ran back, and they ended up having to come up on top of the bubble bus and get you down.
Oh, we had some fun, dude.
Yeah.
We've got, actually, you know what? I want to share something with people. Now that you've mentioned it, I've got footage of the bubble bus when we were. There was a couple of times where we were messing with the authorities over fuel, because the police insisted on taking people's fuel, and we insisted on that not being a good idea. So attempting to take it back without forcing the issue, because you can't do that with police. It won't work out too well. So we've got footage here of I want to just see if I can find it. There's your cops taking cans at Metcalf Slater. We rescue the cans. Here it is here. Okay, check this.
No, if I'm not under arrest, I'm going to continue on my way here. Then I'm going to take the cans from you. Why would you? That's my property. This is my property. This is my property. Excuse me, I'll take one of these. 2163. Take this. Come and help, please.
We're picking up the cans right now. As soon as the police get down, we pick it up. We're not going to pull it out of their hands.
Did you just assault him? I don't believe that's your property. I don't believe it's your property. I don't believe it's your property. I don't believe it's your property. I'm sorry. I'm not going to give it to you.
I love it.
Take it away. Take this away.
And we started piling them on top of the bubble bus.
Take it away so they don't come take it. We're just trying to survive. Okay.
Yeah. And they're all trying to get our information and everything. And we're doing. Oh, look at.
I'm going to sell them to that bubble wagon right there.
Yeah.
You don't want to do that. Okay, well, now he's got his hands on it. You don't want to do that. No, that's right. These cans. You got your hands on them? Sure, I get it. Would you like to buy those cans off of me? Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to sell those cans to you. We're going to leave those cans right here. We're going to thank you. Yeah. God forbid we help the truckers. I got This is incredible. The optics on this are horrible, guys. It's so bad. Like, do you realize?
I can't believe how many police officers just caved and said, "I'm just doing my job." That was bothersome.
Honestly, I don't want to. I'm always very careful about this particular subject, because I believe that the police are the thin blue line that keep society from basically totally imploding upon itself.
I agree, because I have many friends that are police officers. I've always supported the police. But it's not always right what happens, and it's sad to see it, because there's a lot of good police out there, and I've always defended the police.
Oh, look at this one. I think this one might have been one that was feeling a little bit of remorse here. Let's see if we can. Let's see, because that was happening all over the place. Watch this. Watch.
Not doing anything. You didn't do anything. You're part of the group that is taking the fuel away from the truckers. And so is he.
Oh, no.
I said, you're part of the group that's taking fuel away from the truckers.
That's what we've been asked to do by the city.
Oh,
That's what's going to be done.
You've been asked to do that by the city. How do you personally feel about it? How do you personally feel about
I'm
taking
indifferent.
fuel
The whole
away
job
from...
is for us to do our job.
Oh, okay.
Right? Without our job, there's no law and order, right?
Yeah, no, law is very important. I agree 100%. But when you take fuel away from people without warrants, that's something different. That's something different altogether. No, aiding and abetting a criminal, I understand. The truckers are criminals now.
And they wanted the fuel from the top of the bus so bad that we weren't able to put your plate and pay your parking. Tell me, Kelly, what surprised you about the convoy? Like, what was it that you saw that you just didn't really expect?
I can't believe this.
I didn't expect the love and peace to be at that level. I mean, you get hundreds of thousands of people together, you know there's going to be, the shit disturbers that are placed in there, the Antifas, whatever, to come in and cause some trouble. So you look at any other situation in North America the past few years, when they put those groups into an audience or a situation, something always happens. Nothing happened no matter what they tried the first couple of weeks. Nobody caved, nobody bit on the nonsense. I couldn't believe how much peace and love and beauty there was those first couple of weeks. It was amazing.
For real, man. And like you said, the people that we got to meet throughout this here is Dan. He's a vet on the left there, and that's Calvin. And I had a little group that we'd walk around sometimes with, and I felt protected at all times. These guys had they had my six on all sides, and some of the best. Look, they're all having fun here.
I know.
They're all just kind of dancing, holding each other's hands.
And, the sad part was just the media slant, the mainstream media, how they portrayed everything. I think it was the first, I can't remember which first or second weekend, we're on Wellington and there's thousands and thousands of people everywhere, trucks everywhere. And we go around the corner, me and my buddy, onto Kent, and we're starting to walk down Kent. And there's only a scattering of people, because everybody was kind of walking to and from Wellington Street. Well, CTV's got their cameras set up facing away from Wellington, where you can only see a few people walking, and they're doing this news story about how there's hardly anybody there. And my buddy calls the reporter right out. He's like, why don't you turn your camera around, go up around the corner and look at all the thousands of people having a good time up there. And they actually packed up their cameras and walked away.
Oh, no!
How they were trying to misinterpret everything and just the lies. And I'd come back after a couple of days up in Ottawa, and I'd talk to people, and they'd be like, I can't believe you're part of that. I'm like, what are you talking about? like it was crazy.
It was, I didn't follow the media, obviously. I mean, we were creating our own,
yes.
I guess, our own points of view, which is kind of the whole point of the series. I really want to bring in anybody that was there to give us more context of what happened and how you saw it go down. And when you mentioned that they were shooting the video somewhere where there was no people, what I really want to see is I want to see the outskirts of the city where they didn't let them into the city and they were all backed up onto the highways and the farms. And I want to hear from the people that happened to, because I mean, that could have been bigger than all the people downtown.
Oh, easily, because if you think that the first 2 weekends, there had to be 250,000 people down around Parliament Hill. It was insane how many people were there.
I knew with the crowd growing every weekend, it would thin out during the week, fair enough, but then the weekend would get bigger. And
oh,
bigger.
yeah.
We went, oh my God, they're going to have to shut this down sooner. We'll have the whole country here.
Yeah.
You can feel it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. No, it was, I'm really honored and blessed that I was able to be a part of that experience. And it's, and this, that convoy, it was life-changing for a lot of things and a lot of people, and it's going to be talked about for a very long time.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, we keep talking about it to the point whereby they want to recreate it. And I understand the sentiment. I don't think it'll ever be recreated per se. But I do believe that there will be more, the action's not going to stop. People are going to keep, until they get their end goal, which, depending on who you talk to, And that's really where I want to go with it with you, Kelly. I mean, what is the end goal here? How can we not necessarily recreate the Freedom Convoy, but rather recreate the feeling that we had of the camaraderie in some beneficial ways? How can we do that?
Well, just keep spreading love, keep loving on people. You know, it's they want us to be at each other's throats. They want to create divisiveness and enemies between each of us, and just don't bite on that narrative, and just keep showing love to people. And you know, that's really all I can say about that. And like for me, like with what I'm doing now, I'm working at a local butcher shop. A friend of mine who is a patriot, who stood up to all the mandates, has supported me through my business. I'm working for him now. And one of the other things that I'm hopefully working towards, you know, God willing, is I want to do something with restaurants again, but I want to do more of a mission-based thing where I'm helping others that need it. I mean, there's over 2 million Canadians right now every day going to food banks. That's not acceptable, Jim. You know, and that is the end game. It's to take this country down. It's to bring in a global government, and you have to take everything away before you can reset it the way they want to. And this is what it's all leading to. Agenda 2030, we could go on about all this. This has been in the works for a very, very long time. And I knew all that going into this pandemic. So that's why I knew it wasn't just a virus. I knew it was bigger. I knew they were up to something a lot bigger. And like I said, they've spent too much time and too much money to not get what they want. So they're not going to stop. So we have to stand firm, and we have to stand up against it and not back down.
You know, it's funny, when did you first hear about COVID? When did you first hear about that?
Well, I knew something was up even before it happened, because I was following everything, and everything happened in Wuhan. I mean, ironically enough, you know, when this virus that came out of Wuhan was the test market for 5G. That's when they went live with 5G worldwide. That was their first test. So this has never been about a virus. It's always been bigger, and it's been about 5G. And I said that in March of 2020, and people thought it was batshit crazy. So this is bigger than a virus, and that's the platform they use now. Like they're talking about Disease X now. There's already medical people in Denver, Colorado, that are getting the Ebola vaccination right now. So there's more coming, and soon. So we just got to be vigilant and be ready and be prepared.
Okay, well, there's we know what predictive programming is, yes? For those of the audience,
absolutely.
Predictive programming is when there will be information or media or whatever, any kind of messaging released previous to the thing actually happening, to somehow prepare the psyche for it, or other people would say more nefariously, as some kind of code that must be followed when they're about to, rip your world out from underneath you.
Yep.
So this is the idea of predictive programming. Where it gets a little challenging here is that predictive programming can also operate in our own lives, in that if we say something, or if we take something in and then we repeat it, we are more likely to perpetuate that which we say and repeat. And my concern around this one is just, I always want to speak life into people and not death. You know, the way this could roll out in many different ways. And it looks, as far as I can tell from this perspective right now, that we are at a bit of an upswing. And when I say we, I'm talking about those who believe in bodily autonomy and believe in the freedom of the individual being to be able to live without encumbrance, overtly by any big organization or governmental body for that matter. So there is an upswing, but where it goes is going to have a lot to do with how we imagine things, as well as what comes out of our mouths.
And how we stand up to it too. Like I said, if more people are waking up to what happened during, COVID times, if people are more awake to what that really was all about, they're going to be less fearful this time around, and they're going to understand the game that they're trying to play with us. So it's being prepared.
For sure.
If we're prepared, the more people are prepared, the less likely their game will succeed, right?
And I'd like to just point out that all of the people you're looking at here in the crowd, this was during a time when it was still like you weren't allowed to do that. You weren't allowed to be with people. And yet there was no wave of sickness that overcame these people. You can tell that they were happy. I saw some of these people on the streets every day for over 3 weeks.
I know.
You know,
not living in fear. They were happy, full of love, no fear at all. None.
You know, it was an amazing thing. I'd heard this term, not herd mentality, herd immunity.
Herd immunity, yeah.
Before, right? And that made sense to me, okay? So you got a flock of some kind of whatever, and they get some kind of whatever. Then as soon as the majority of the flock get it, they create an antibody or whatever, a defense for it, and then, you know, the whole population's good. So that made sense to me. And I didn't understand why COVID, this thing that they called COVID, was any different. Like, what the hell? Okay, so we all go get the thing, and then, you know, now we're good, right? Isn't that the way it's supposed to work out? But no, it went wacky, man. Like,
Well, it's been crazy, that's for sure.
Brother, what do you think of the state of Canada today? I mean, it's been 2 years to the day that this footage was taken. It in some ways seems longer, some ways not so much. But what do you think of the state of Canada today, thinking back 2 years ago?
Well, I'm not happy with the state of our country as far as what our government's doing and what it's done. And sadly, you know, they're setting up this whole game that, you know, a conservative savior is going to come in and save the day. And they're both wings on the same bird, unfortunately. And nothing's going to change. Everybody's going to think that if Trudeau's gone, Canada's going to be saved. And they need to understand and stay vigilant, because when you have a conservative leader who's, you know, connected to the WEF, and most of these political leaders they don't get to that level of politics if they haven't compromised or been blackmailed or been put in some sort of situation. That's just the reality.
WEF, for anybody who's watching who doesn't know, and I'm sure many of you do, but the WEF is the World Economic Forum. These terminologies are things that we've kind of become accustomed to because now we're aware. But these are actual things that have happened, and actual organizations that currently exist and implement policies that are not necessarily good for the people through their governance, you know, and different levels of governance. So
they're unelected officials too. None of these group think tanks, these non-government organizations, they're not elected people. They've just assumed the role of deciding what's best for us.
Yeah, that's kind of weird, eh?
It is.
She's hot. I love that.
Yeah, she's okay.
Ain't she beautiful? I only get her in the clips a little bit every time because I don't want to be. It just distracts me from everything else, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm a very blessed man. She hates the cold because she's from Guyana, but she was out there, you know, almost every day, keeping me warm and helping me, you know. Oh, that's when the fence was up. No, look.
I know. How disgusting is that? I know.
You see that?
Yeah.
That was the day, and it must have happened that day, which is today, pretty much, because the vets came and tore it down that night.
Mm-hmm.
They brought all the people in and tore it down that night. Gee, look at that, eh?
Well, it was just like the first weekend when somebody had flowers and a Canadian flag over the Terry Fox statue, and people were like, "You're desecrating a statue." No, we're paying respect to a Canadian hero. Like, stop it, people. Stop twisting this. Like,
dude.
But it's okay. It's okay for these liberals to hang pride flags and everything else that they want to put for their agenda on a Terry Fox statue, but we can't actually put a Canadian flag on it.
It's so weird how, it's so weird how people can get so uppity about things that don't make any sense or really are you know, whatever. I remember I one time found some courage somewhere and led a group of people into the monument regarding the Holocaust monument. But when I took a picture, I stood up on a wall that was outside the monument, but right on that wall there was a plaque that says, "Do not desecrate the monument," or something. And people took my standing on the wall as a desecration of the monument, which I can understand the optics of that and why they would feel that way. I just didn't see the sign, thought I was inside and thought it was okay. But, you know, you got to be damn careful if you're, you know, out there in the public eye doing something. We got to be careful.
Mm-hmm.
So did you notice that there was any kind of like, what kind of inspiration do people draw from your example? Because you're one of only a handful of restaurateurs that stayed open.
I don't know. I mean, I perceived, obviously there was a lot of naysayers because of the mainstream media slanting things and twisting it like I was a bad guy and I was reckless and endangering people's lives, which we know wasn't true. But the love and support I got from other people, it's been amazing. Really overwhelming and humbling, honestly. And I don't know if me standing up and people like you standing up has made a difference in even one person's life to maybe not live in fear and see that things aren't as they thought they were, and it's changed a person's life. If it was just one, then it's been worth it, you know? So I don't know how far reaching what we've done the past couple of years, how far reaching it's gone, Jim, but we can bet that it's definitely been a positive thing.
Oh, brother, I have no doubt. I mean, I just the odd message that you get makes it all worthwhile. You know, it's like when you have kids and your kids are growing up and it's a lot of work and everything, but you'll be out fishing with them one day and they'll look up and you go, "This is the best day of my life." It happened with me, and I know, and I will never ever forget that because that made everything up to that point worth it.
Yeah, and for me, like even closer to home, like my oldest daughter just turned 24, and you know, she's like 100%, Dad, you did the right thing. I'm proud of you for what you stood for. You know, when your own family recognizes that and knows that you weren't this crazy kook that was just trying to do something silly, that you actually had a purpose in what you did, and they understand why you did it and can see through all that, that really hits home and it makes a difference too. You know, it's been pretty cool that way.
Kelly, I'm going to ask you, maybe not on air just now, but maybe after, to maybe say a prayer for Abby. Abby was a young lady who was on the show a little while ago. She driven to the Convoy from Vancouver, but since she took a stand, and now none of her family will see her or talk to her or communicate with her whatsoever, and she's very, very lonely and hurt by this. So if you think to say a prayer for Abby, anybody out there, if you believe that the prayer thing will work, I implore you, because what a beautiful spirit. She was nothing but glowing when she was referring to her experience at the Convoy, and I understand exactly how she felt, but she doesn't deserve that. So
no,
yeah.
Well, I'll have Abby in my prayers tonight for sure, buddy. And I'll tell you, the power of prayer is pretty powerful. It's an amazing thing. I've had many prayers the past 2 or 3 years of my life answered. It's been pretty overwhelming how my life has changed, Jim. So I'm pretty blessed.
Oh man, well, you know, I think I should be doing some more praying. My life has moved in positive directions, incredibly so, and I couldn't be more thankful. But at the same token, I certainly don't think I've got all the answers, and I need as much help as I can get, because
we all do, buddy. We all do.
It's pretty crazy times, buddy. You know.
Yeah. But it's also it's an amazing time to be alive too. Like, just I mean, we're close to the same age, you and I. We're well into our 50s, and I'll tell you, I never imagined in my life I'd be experiencing and seeing what we've seen the past 3 or 4 years. Never dreamt it.
Me neither, dude. I didn't know we were free. I didn't know as a Catholic, I didn't know we were free. Everybody just said that. Yeah, we're free, we're free. I didn't get it.
Yeah.
And I know that we have always, our freedoms have always been limited. If we have to sign something, we got to pay to live on the place. There's costs here.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same token, I mean, now it's amazing what you see in hindsight. 2020.
Oh yeah. Well, you think back to the early 1900s when the Federal Reserve was brought in and all the bankers decided that taxing everything was going to be the way before World War I, and it was supposed to be a temporary measure. I mean, before then, the world seemed to work fine without, all this taxation and stealing and raping and pillaging from the people. So it's all been an evil plan from day one, what they're doing to us.
Okay, now that was something that you mentioned. You mentioned it was a setup for the Emergency Act. So my perspective has been in the past, and I'm not stuck to it, but that the Freedom Convoy was quite an organic thing, in that, yes, there was planning, and yes, there were people that were involved in the planning and such, but the large majority of people who showed up just showed up. Like, they didn't Do you know what I mean? So what do you mean?
Oh,
It was
that part I understand, but people can all like you can also be used without knowing you're being used, right? So all of us who went there with the right intentions, whatever we thought was going to happen, we were being used in a sense too, because to get the group of people all together was what they needed to be able to have something happen to justify that Emergencies Act to come in. And we know they wanted that. Like that, it's pretty clear with all the stuff that's going on with the hearings and stuff. They wanted that Emergencies Act to be brought in. So I don't know. Well, there's lots of different views on it. I do believe a lot of it was organic, and there was a lot of people that were involved in this, like me and you, for the positive and what we thought to be the right reasons. But there's always people controlling things, and everything is so socially engineered in our lives. It's that never stops happening.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Let's talk a little bit about the generosity you saw experienced at the convoy. What did you see, buddy?
Dude, I'll tell you, the stories when they were talking, saying that, truckers were stealing from the homeless and all these things. I watched people, I watched truckers, we all did it. We were handing food out to homeless people. Nothing was charged. All these food tables that were everywhere. People were just cooking and handing out food to people.
Okay, dude,
garbage was being picked up. Garbage was being picked up. There was no litter anywhere. Shoveling of sidewalks, truckers and people helping. It was just unification everywhere. It was amazing.
All right, so we were out doing the rounds, giving out strawberries, and then we found other people that were giving out something else. So this is just a little experience that backs up some of what you're saying.
Rain! What are you guys doing out here in the rain? Oh my God, you made cupcakes! You made it! Wow! Why you guys come out in the rain and do this? They changed your life? I love you guys, man.
The truckers
changed that's what they didn't want to happen, Jim. They didn't want that to happen. And when they did it, they had to change their whole tune because they're like, oh snap. They're all just getting along. We can't have this.
Oh, it was like this peaceful disease broke out.
Oh, man.
It's not disease. It was like the opposite of that. It would be.
No, and I said too, like God's hand was all over that convoy from day one. Like if you look, I remember the first weekend I was up there, all of the scriptures and different Bible writings all over trucks and just the whole everything. It was electric. It was so amazing to be a part of that.
I was really surprised that there wasn't like more fistfights and violence and damage to things. Like I just expected the instigators would have done more damage. Honestly,
Well, that's God again for you, I believe. And here's the funny thing too: is obviously at night, people are up there having a good time. They're drinking, getting into the beers and stuff. And I saw quite a few pretty inebriated people. But normally when you get drunk people in a crowd like that, you're right. There's always fights. I've never seen a crowd of people that big. And it wasn't tons of drunk people, but enough people that have been drinking that if one thing happens, all hell breaks loose, so to speak. And there's nothing. It was just people were in the intersection, 1 o'clock in the morning, dancing around, music playing, everyone's happy. It was just amazing.
Yeah, it really did have a party atmosphere. So this I didn't realize I had met Freedom George before, but this is the first time I had met Freedom George. I had my camera on, so I wasn't even aware. I don't know if you know who Freedom George is, and Pat King. I think they were both traveling together here. So I think this is a bit of footage of me catching George and Pat King, which would have happened today 2 years ago. I don't know if you know. I think you'll weigh in on
So the most interesting things happen when you're hanging out in the bubble bus. We found a new place to hang out, and Pat King found us, and now Pat King is jamming with the cops while he's asked this gentleman to move, which he has kindly done. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Freedom. All right.
Very good.
So, it's.
I didn't even know who he was. I've since spent some time with him, dude, and there's a godly man whom I have great affection for. what a genuine G, Freedom George. I don't know if you know him, but
Not personally, but I know who he is. Yeah.
yeah, he's
If
a
I
genuine.
tell you to
up for the Castleman camp up here outside of Ottawa, which is still operating, not specifically Castleman, outside of Ottawa. And Kelly, talk to me about. There's a bunch of people going back to Ottawa on like the 16th, 17th. Did you hear anything about that?
I've
Fuck
seen a couple
off.
of posters and things about it. I haven't really looked into it. I work Fridays and Saturdays now, so it'd be hard for me to get away. But it'd be interesting to see how that all works out, how it plays out.
Yeah, brother. It's funny. You never know. You never know what's going to happen and when it's going to happen. And this trucker thing caught me by surprise. I'll tell you, brother. I did not expect it, and I literally didn't know how long it was going to last. Like we were there until it ended. It was at first it was out of duty, and then it was out of, oh my gosh, I wouldn't want to be anywhere else in the world.
Well, that just reminded me. I think that's the last day. I think that's why I didn't go up, because you were already in there and they blocked it off so you couldn't get in the zone anymore. So I think that was my deterrence. I'm like, what's the point of driving up there if I can't even get into the city, right?
Yeah.
But I intended on going for the last couple of days as well, but just didn't work out.
Oh, brother. Well, I'll tell you, it was some time. I don't know if you want to hear this. I don't know if you're a Pat King fan or not, but I think we'll wait for that one. We'll wait for the Pat King interview. He's quite a contentious guy. I mean, he's got a lot of people have a lot to say about the man.
Have a conversation with.
I personally know that I know him. I've spent some time with him. Nice enough guy. I think he actually cares about our freedom. You couldn't be going through all that if you didn't give a shit about our freedom.
Yeah, I've never personally met him, so yeah, I don't really know.
Yeah,
but yes, there's been a lot of polarizing figures the past few years, though, with this whole movement. So
how do you feel we should deal with those who polarize, those who engage in this kind of divisive behavior? How do you think we should deal with that?
I don't know. I mean, you would hope that the court system would be not so corrupt and be able to do things lawfully and legally, but I mean, me and many others have experienced that firsthand, how they lie and cheat their way through things. So I don't know what the answer is. I wish I could answer that with something concrete, my friend.
Well, I appreciate it, brother. I think we each individually have to do what we can do to be an example of somebody that others, if they emulated, the world would get better.
No, that's it. It's just it's all about the love, bud. Just love on people, and just I used to be a person who, like I said, had a temper, and I had an attitude, and I was judgmental, and I had something to say about everything. And who am I to judge? Right? That's not right. So I'm glad that those changes have been made in me. So it's just changed my whole outlook on a lot of things, Jim. It's been good.
Oh my! Look at this. You're talking about love? They didn't even know I was there. Oh, now they stop.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are at the main intersection. Yeah, buddy!
Okay.
How you doing? How you doing? I'm doing amazing. I'm just talking about these trucks here that are moving. There was a bit of space between them, but this one now, I guess, has enough diesel that she can move in. Right on. Oh, she is not doing that, is she? Why is she doing that?
Oh boy, I can't even, man. I so wanted to talk tactics of what we should have done with all the trucks, but I chose a part as an independent reporter, so I didn't get to do that.
And boy, was it! I'll tell you, some of those days it was like -30. There were some cold days there, man.
Oh, buddy! And some people were standing like living in the back. I mean, they were so like cuddled up in their little sleeping bags, that kind of thing.
I know, and it was neat. Like the first Saturday of the convoy,
I know, right?
I was lucky enough to get up on that stage and address
Police
the crowd.
have been put up.
Oh,
and
no
I'll tell
way.
you, there had to be. I bet you there was 25,000-30,000 people. I got to go up there and talk about what happened to me, and I was really, really surprised when I said my name and I owned a little restaurant in Kingston called Jakks Tuesdays, and the crowd just went nuts. I'm like, whoa! It was really hard to believe that many people were aware of what I'd done. So it was pretty neat the way people responded. So
You know,
Yeah.
you mentioned previously that we don't know where our efforts might go to and how they might come to fruition. But I want to tell you, one of my favorite freedom relationships that we've developed came as a direct result of the things that you did, i.e., through Roy and Nicole over at Peterburgers. They called me out of the blue. When I showed up at that Kingston thing, I didn't know who you were. They were the ones who informed me of who you were and what you were doing. And that's why I came up to the Kingston thing. And as a result, we ended up, spending so much time with Roy and Nicole, whom I know, if they're not here, wish they were, because they were on the other night and they speak amazingly highly of you.
And I have them too. It's amazing. So I don't know how that all happened. A friend that they knew originally, his name's Oliver. He's from Peterborough. He lives in Kingston. And there was a rally up in Peterborough that they did before this all happened with me. And Oliver's like, he felt compelled to go to this rally in Peterborough. And through Roy and Nicole, Oliver mentions me. And it was Oliver who got me and Roy and Nicole connected. And it was amazing after that. It was just like, let's do this. And just the timing of it, how it worked out, that they literally came the morning before that rally and shut me down, and the rally happened the next day. It was just like, wow.
See, I didn't even know any of that. I just was like, oh, they want me to come. It's a restaurant owner staying open. Let's do it. For me, dude, I was a small business owner. I have no idea how any of these businesses could have afforded to close down. I couldn't. When I was a small business owner, I could have closed down for a week. I wouldn't have made payroll. My business would have been over.
Yeah, because it was just a couple of weeks before then that I first met you and Ed Casey. Like, you guys came down one night to Jack's, and I hadn't met you guys before, and that's when I first met you and your wife and Ed and a couple other people. It was just like, even that first night when I met you guys, that there's something to this. I'm glad I'm taking this stand, and then I knew it wasn't just me. You know what I mean? It wasn't just me saying no in my little town where nobody else really did it. There was support elsewhere, and there was other people standing up and saying something's wrong here. So it was pretty awesome that you guys came and we met. And even then, like the night that they came and shut me down, Ed was at that door all night as a doorman. He was right there, man. It was awesome.
Ed was the first participant in this little thing that I'm doing every night at the Convoy.
I'll tell you, I love that, man. Like I said, the amazing people that I've got to meet because of me standing up to what I thought was wrong. It's amazing, the people that have been brought into my life. It's pretty awesome.
I couldn't agree more, brother. And it makes me wonder what's in store for the freedom thing as we go forward. How do you see the state of affairs moving forward, man? I mean, what do you think?
I want to stay positive, man, but I'll tell you, I know what their agenda is. I know how deep rooted it is and how evil it is. And we're nothing to these people, Jim. We're just taking up space and air. And this is really how they think about us. And people need to realize that.
Mouth eaters, I think they call us.
Oh yeah. We're the goyim. We're just the useless eaters. We're just useless cattle to them. And
useless mouth breathers. Sorry.
Exactly. And this is why they give us the bread and circus and all these distractions, right? Here's your sports, here's your music, here's Hollywood, here's all these things, just like the Romans did, have a Colosseum and give them a circus when they start to revolt and they start to wake up, and they keep us distracted and keep us with our heads down on our phones and watching TV and not paying attention to the world. And I'm just glad more and more people are starting to realize what's at stake here and what their agenda really is, Jim.
Brother, well, it's because people, I think that at the end of the day, common sense, even though it's not very common, it is attractive to those who believe in the truth, and to me, it's common sense that we're going to have different people with different ideas. The more we can share those ideas and allow for other people to share ideas that don't necessarily resonate with ourselves, the happier we're going to be as a species.
No, you're 100% right. Yeah, it's like I said, love conquers all, and they don't want us loving on each other. They want us hating and fighting and keep us divided, and that's how we win. We just we don't give in to their divisiveness, and we just we continue to come together and stay together as a group. And the Convoy was a good example of that, my friend.
Absolutely, brother. So I'm going to just mention something at this point. You know, our perception has a lot to do with things. I know that people talk about the skies being sprayed. Okay. Now I've personally witnessed this. I've watched the skies. I try to pay attention to the difference between an artificial cloud and a real cloud. But you know, at the end of the day, if it's something nefarious to hurt us all, okay, which it may or may not be, because I certainly don't know. I've seen supporting evidence, I've seen opposing evidence. I don't know. Okay, so whatever, and I'm not going to sit here and tell anybody what it is or what it ain't. But if I don't know, I might as well choose the most upbuilding and positive view I possibly can. So maybe our atmosphere is screwed, and there's some geoengineer up there who's putting that shit in the skies, and it's actually helping us. It's deflecting some bad, weird shit from us from hurting us or something. Okay.
I wish that was the case.
I'm not saying it is, but it could be.
Yeah.
It could be. Okay. So all I'm saying is there's a lot of ways of looking at things, but there's one thing that you can't deny, folks. When you're actually there, you know, it's like the feeling I get every time I watch this stuff, dude, is undeniable.
Yeah, it was amazing. It was.
Like, yeah. So, Kelly, talk to me. Is there anything else that you would love to share with the people about your life, your journey, your experience? Anything, brother?
Well, I think the important thing is, like I said, you gotta keep with the love. Like, love conquers all. We need to understand, try to understand each other better, and just, you know, be more accepting, and just don't be so quick to judge and jump down people's throats, right? Everybody's going through trials and tribulations, especially the past few years, because they've tried to make it difficult for everybody. And stay positive and keep loving on people, and that's the best way to get through all this.
Oh, brother, you dance?
I used to. I might not believe it, but when I was a young pup, I used to spin on my head.
You used to spin on your head?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, can you do that without breaking your neck right now? It would be the best outro.
It used to be called break dancing. Now it's called broken dancing. No, I wouldn't even try that for.
Well, Kelly, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show here tonight. I have immense amount of respect for you, as you know. I appreciate people like you that have faith, morals, and are willing to stand up for something they believe in, even though it might end up losing them something materially. Obviously, you've been paid back in spades by the value of the relationships that you've gained, and I feel exactly the same way about you, brother.
Absolutely. I have a lot of respect for you, too. I'm been honored to have met you and been a part of this walk through the past couple of years with everything you've done too. So everything is by divine appointment. I truly believe that, and none of this has been by chance.
Brother, well, it's no chance that I ever could meet too many people that are just as strong and independently thinking and determined as yourself, brother. I really appreciate you, man.
Ready?
Well, I'm glad there's a lot of us out there, and I'm glad that more of us are standing up and more of us are coming together as a collective, and this is how we beat the system, buddy.
Damn right. So I'm going to let this roll. Feel free to take off at any time. Kelly, thank you so much. Thank you, every one of you, for coming here tonight. Yes, it was live. It won't be when you're watching this unless you're still watching it live, in which case you're going to continue watching because I'm going to allow it to play.
And I just like to say, anybody through this ride, since I stood up and put that sign up, anybody who's supported me and had my back, I just humbly from the bottom of my heart want to say thank you. It means a lot, and I love everybody who stood up and was with me. So thank you very much to everybody who did.
Okay, Kelly, and that does remind me, if people wanted to get a hold of you, how would they do that?
They could just, through Facebook, obviously, or if they want to email me, it's jakks05@gmail.com is my email if they want to reach out and communicate with me. The neat thing, like when I first took this stand and they took my liquor license away, I couldn't believe I was getting messages from, like, emails and messages from people all over the world, from Australia, Finland, Denmark, Holland, Germany. The United States, all over, across Canada. People were sending me messages in support, and it was amazing. Like, it was overwhelming.
It really did come out of nowhere, didn't it? I mean, yeah, it was a time of my life, and I thank you for sharing it with me, man. I really appreciate you, brother.
Yeah, me, I appreciate you too. We had to tell you that convoy. We had a lot of good times together, buddy. It was awesome.
The best. The best.
Wow, that was not nice. I can't believe that.
You can't believe that, eh? Believe it!
All of us!
Nice, all right, brother. I love you. Doing good, doing good.
Right on, freedom, baby.
Let's go see what these tops are so pushing. Tops are pushing the way through. Take some of these medical attention. Maybe I shouldn't have just. No, I didn't really do it. It's okay? It's okay. He's okay.
Whoa! Copyright. 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 Copy wrong. Copyright. 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 Copyright, copyright, copyright.
Hello, everybody. Tout le monde est content, tout le monde. Il y en a qui font des feux d'artifice parmi la foule. Ça, c'est un peu dangereux, ça. S'il vous plaît, on va les faire en dehors. Là, on m'en fout, vous en faire comme vous voulez. Mais pas dans la foule, s'il vous plaît, OK? Not in the crowd for the fireworks. Those right there, I don't care how much you want to pet. It's not my problem, but not in the crowd, please, okay?
Yeah!
And everybody have fun, and we live here with those guys. They're the best on this team. Say thank you to those guys. Ils sont arrivés ici en plus. Les autres, moi, ils m'ont appelé, ils m'ont offert de venir pour faire plaisir à tout le monde. Parce qu'ils voulaient faire partie du mouvement, eux autres aussi. C'est des gars avec des cœurs. Ils sont là. Ils sont là en plus pour nous faire plaisir. Pour faire avoir du fun. Fait que amusez-vous. Have fun, everybody. Hey, oh. Ah, that's good. Hey, oh. Oh. Okay, louder, plus fort. Hey, oh. Okay. Freedom. Freedom! Liberté!
Yo, everybody, listen up. Tomorrow, 1 o'clock, Christopher James.
a bunch of people. You're live. You're live. You're okay. Good to see you. How are you?
Are you both still in the same spot by the canal?
Yes. Yay! Hold on a second. Yeah, let's go. You know what? Okay, well, let's, Hey, are you buddy with Kingsley? Fireworks that fell down and went the wrong way. Yeah, where'd he go? Well, I don't know. It wasn't intentional. I think it fell down. Someone's gonna get hurt.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming. Shut her down for tonight. Tomorrow night, 7 o'clock. Welcome live tomorrow night, 7 o'clock.
So what happened was, I think a firework fell down and went the wrong way.
You never know until you show up.
A young lady's hatched up.
Thank you for coming. Bye-bye.